Greetings, welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to mount a faceplate, like this one, quickly and accurately around a tiny little center hole like this one right here. Okay, so if you've had to use a faceplate on a wood lathe more than once or twice, you already know that getting them centered up can be kind of a pain in the neck. Now, whether you use a circle cutting jig, a layout template like this thing I got from Craft Supplies, you're always left with that little tiny center hole. I use this technique most often with green bowl blanks. Today I've just got a piece of scrap MDF. The principle is the same. Usually when you're done cutting out something round, you're left with a center mark like that. Now whether that's from a compass or a circle cutting jig, typically I use a cut-off nail or a small screw up through the bottom of my circle cutting jigs, but they're always a lot smaller than this faceplate. And so what do you have to do? Put this thing down, you kind of eyeball it as best you can. When you put the screws in, maybe it moves one side or the next. It's time consuming, and inevitably there's a little bit of eccentricity, so you've got this thing off sides, and what you've got is something that spins kind of like that. That's a pain in the neck. So now that we know what our shared problem is, let's get to it and solve that problem. Okay, folks, step one is to pick a screw. Now you want something that's a flat on the bottom like this panhead screw, and then also something that's going to be the same diameter along the entire length of the shank. This is a number 10 sheet metal screw, and it works terrifically for this particular task. Once you've found whatever fastener you're going to use, you need to know what diameter hole is just big enough to let the screw pass. And so I use a drill gauge for that, and so we get nope, nope, yes. All right, so in this case, the number 10 screw goes through a hole just barely, that's 3/16 of an inch in diameter. I don't know if you can see that on screen. And so I've mounted a 3/16 inch drill bit here in the chuck. What we're going to do now is drill a center hole about as deep as I can with the flute. So in this case, probably about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. As you may have noticed, the bit did wobble a tiny bit when it went into the wood. I have not found that to cause a problem of the center hole and the outside of the wood to be eccentric, but if you're really particular about that, one thing you can do, you loosen the wood up in the chuck a little bit, and you bring a pointed center like that in. Recenter everything, and then tighten the chuck back down, and that'll bring everything back up to where it needs to be. Okay, so the next step is to turn down the outside of the wood until it's just small enough to fit inside the faceplate. Boy, did I get lucky with that, right on the first try. Now we turn down a little more. Okay, on to the next step. Okay, so basically what we've done is we've made a wooden bushing that's custom to our purposes. This hole has a diameter that matches this screw, so you can just slide it right in there, and the outside diameter of this matches the inside diameter of the faceplate. So what you do is you take that center mark, and you just get the screw centered on that. Just drive that in there so it's nice and tight. Slip this thing right over it, and you notice that spins around, and it really doesn't move. The catch here is that over the course of a year, that bushing will absorb or lose moisture, and so it's going to change size ever so slightly, so maybe you need to make a new one once in a while. It's not that tough, as you can see. But now, this thing is centered perfectly, and it can only move, so when you drill your screws in, and I'd recommend this one, you know, you'd kind of every other screw. When I put screws in like this, I like to do one side, then the other, and then you kind of do like that. Sort of like tightening lug nuts on a car. But as you can see now, this thing doesn't move, and it's a whole lot faster to put that bushing in than it is to try to line it up. So all you do, you put the bushing in the center mark, put the faceplate down on top of that, and then secure the faceplate, and you're done. Now, is this flawlessly accurate? No, it's a whole lot better than anything else you're going to find, but those of you who come from a machine shop background are still going to notice there's a little bit of wobble, but it's a lot less. So we're talking a tiny fraction of an inch. So that's all there is to getting this thing lined up. Thank you for watching this entire video. Please watch another one of my videos all the way through and subscribe to this channel. Both those things help the channel grow, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much once again, and I'll see you in another video.